Well, we are live. So we're broadcasting. Go ahead and drop in the chat if you're just joining the room. Let us know where you're calling in from. I'll need some help, managing that. Let's see
I
if I
got
can
it.
bring up.
I'm with you.
Yeah, I need to bring up Zoom chat for me too, but welcome everyone. Welcome. Guess we'll do some quick intros here in a second, but to kick off, I am Jeffrey Brogard, Marketing Director here at Maverick.
Well, I'll jump in as well. I got a little bit of a dual role. Then we'll kick it over to the ladies since they're more specialized in their areas. But Gabe Cordova, GM here at Maverick, but also Senior Director of Operations at Robert Slack Real Estate. Primary focus and job there is managing the database. We got about 1.8 million leads in our database. A lot of different tech and things touching them, and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of agents working it. And so my job is to make sure all the tech's working, but then we're not missing any of the signals and opportunities that are happening within all of that tech, which we're going to be touching a lot on that in what we talk about today.
Yeah, I'll jump in next. I'm Livia Monteforti. I run the Freitas Monteforti Group with Compass on Cape Cod. I'm a realtor in residence. I love all things Maverick. It has really helped us grow our business above and beyond, and I'm excited to be able to share what works for us. I also love these sessions because I learn something new every single time. So excited to be here with you guys.
All right, and I am Marissa Canario. I am a realtor in residence for Maverick, as well as own a new expansion network called Apex Realty Group and work as director of lead generation for a 600,000 lead database. So not quite 1.3 million though. Every time I hear that number, I'm like, but it's great to be here, and I am in Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Very nice. I know your databases make me feel like mine is micro, guys. Come on.
I was gonna say, what a slouch, Marissa.
Right?
I know.
Wow.
Slacking. I have to go buy more leads. I'll be back.
There you go. That just means more work, right? I mean, we're focusing on a small number of it. And Livia, we all know like your price point's probably like 10x most of us. So you don't need as many as the rest of us.
Livia's doing
that is
just
true.
fine.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I think that we've had a critical mass join the room, so we'll go ahead and kick it off. Welcome, everyone. I'll be kind of driving the deck, and I put a lot of this together, but it's really on the backs of the hard work done by our realtors in residence. So, Marissa, Gabe, Livia, can't thank you all enough for being the boots on the ground, the professionals in the field using this software and giving us that real feedback from team leaders, what's important, exactly what metrics to look at, how they measure, the conversations they're having with agents. It's also critical. So, big shout out there. They're going to chime in a ton throughout this, but you're in good hands. So without further ado, let's kick it off. 16x more appointments in 30 days. Here's how. Bold statement. We're prepared to deliver on that promise. First off, though, we do have a free gift for you. So we recently put this together. This is the Beyond Commissions guide for motivating your team. Now, working with teams at Maverick, we have identified 3 core psychological drivers that actually motivate independent agents. And in this ebook, you learn how to build a culture of accountability without micromanaging. It has actionable strategies to foster healthy competition and help potentially double conversions, which is another bold claim, but we've seen the data. We'll show it later. It's really powerful. And we're also going to help deliver 3x ROI on your leadership by boosting your team's GCI. So this is completely free. We know that you don't get your time back when you invest into webinars like this. We are going to cover a lot in the next hour or so. And just by committing that time and staying to the end, investing in your own education, by learning this, we're going to give you this free ebook. So make sure to stay to the very end. We'll get that to you. All right. Well, to kick things off, I would love to hear about Gabe's story with, going from guessing to growing and, the roots of Maverick. First off, just the overall, what does MAV even stand for? And yeah, I would love to just have you elaborate a little bit.
Yeah, 100%. So I mean, given the idea, right? Measurement, accountability, visibility, and not having to guess. And you know, we all live most of our time in the CRM, right? Well, you know, whatever that one is, that's where we spend most of our time, where our leads are coming into, where we're doing our prospecting, our lead follow-up and all that. And I think there's a lot of areas, and probably every agent, every team lead on here might have a different story where they are guessing on where the holes are or inefficiencies and all that. But you know, I'll uncover, and Levia already said it early on. Like, we love these because, you know, we've all been doing this quite a bit and managing some high producing teams and all that, but we're also still learning, and the market's always changing and tech is changing and opportunities, and we jump on these and we're literally all the time like, wow, Olivia, say that again, or Marissa, say that again, that's incredible, I'm writing it down, or we're tweaking that. And what I think's helped though with Maverick is areas that we thought we were killing it, or agents maybe on our team that we thought were killing it, based on whatever we were seeing, right? You know, we make fun of a lot of times sellers, right? I'll pivot here a little bit and bring it back, I promise. But you know, sellers, you know, they're like, oh, you know, I want you to do more open houses, or I want more flyers instead of whatever it is. They see value in what they're seeing, right? When I see my agent, or I know that they're here doing it, that's the value, not maybe the marketing they're doing or any of that. So we were making, myself included, a big mistake by guessing that those agents that we saw more closings from, and this is just one of many examples, those agents that we see closing more were our highest converters, highest conversion ratios and all that. Well, we didn't have visibility, one of you know, the V part, we didn't have visibility really into some of the metrics that we should have been looking at. So I'll share one, and I know we're going to go deeper later, but what we were guessing that was keeping us from growing was, I just thought agent A and B were my killers because they had the most amount of closings on, whether it was, you know, Zillow or Realtor or whatever the source was, right? Well, what I wasn't realizing is how many more opportunities they were taking that were being presented, or how many were dying. And so the agent maybe that was closing, you know, 4 or 5 less in a period of time, is actually my higher converter because they took a fraction of the amount of leads, right? So just one example, we were guessing, hey, I need to keep feeding Levia more and more and more because she's just crushing it, right? But what I didn't realize, I gave Levia, you know, 50 really low funnel ready to go leads. She closed, you know, 10 of them, and I thought, wow, that's great. Marissa only closed 6, that's great, but she's not killing it like Levia. Well, then I got in there like, well, crap, Marissa only took 12, so you got a 50% conversion. I'm feeding the wrong agent. And not that Levia isn't amazing, I was just giving her too much. You know, it got to that point of diminishing return, and she couldn't do anymore. We just didn't have enough visibility
You
into
couldn't see it before.
What's that?
Yeah, there's nowhere to see it, right?
Yeah, there was nowhere to see it. So I don't know if I went too deep there, but it was just one of the areas we were guessing, keep feeding these people. So not only were we feeding, not necessarily the wrong people, but I'm hurting in this scenario, Levia's conversion, because I'm giving her too much. I'm not maybe feeding some other agents that are converting a higher percentage, but they're taking less opportunities. I didn't have enough visibility and the metrics to look at the push of a button to know who to feed, or maybe even who to pull back on, because I was hurting their conversion.
Absolutely.
It's kind of, if you don't mind me jumping in, I love this slide, stop guessing, start growing, because the way it worked for me is I thought of myself as a CEO, right? I was running my business. I knew what it took. I knew what my expectations were. And to Gabe's point, I thought I knew who the rock stars were. But then getting Maverick overlaid, it's like you've hired a CFO. So all of a sudden you're able to say, okay, you are a rock star at what you do. This is the additional potential. And what it gave me was the view of my future income. So now I could start to see what my predictable income was based on what my agents are doing. And this wasn't just living in my head anymore. This was truly measurable. And Gabe is laughing because how many times have I talked about predictable income, but I'm there with spreadsheets trying to figure out what it is. This literally shows you, oh my gosh, we're doing this. And I won't get too specific either because I know we're going to get into it. But it is really a CEO, a CFO thrown into one box, and you get to open it up and have them analyze your business and go, we really are doing great here, and we're almost where we need to be here. And oh my gosh, we really dropped the ball here.
I love that. And it really aligns perfectly with the mission, which is to transform teams into data-driven, accountability-focused operators. who produce predictable results and consistent client excellence. I mean, no blind spots, no missed opportunities, real data, real accountability, real growth, and getting off of those stinking spreadsheets, right?
Yes.
So
take them away.
take them away, right?
I'm not even
No
allowed
one
to
wants
touch
them.
No more.
I'm not allowed to touch it. I try to reorganize or resort something and I mess them up every time. So I usually get view only.
Yeah.
So here's the roadmap for today, everyone. We're going to go over some principles for Maverick, talk about leadership analytics, AI coaching, workflow and accountability, and then the free gift and a special offer for you all for registering for this webinar coming up at the end. Make sure to stay tuned for that. We'll also have a Q&A session at the end, and yes, this is being recorded. So now let's talk about core philosophy. I like to think about the story of Ylopo and how, Howard and G have this business, Ylopo, that's generating 3 million plus leads a year for the last 5 plus however many years for thousands of teams all over the nation. And that really is the inception for this idea. I spoke with Howard a while ago. He said he actually thought about Maverick 10 years ago when he had Tiger Lead, and he wanted the ability to have full transparency from lead to close and all the granularity of what happens with the actual activities between that, so that there was no debate whether the leads were good or the follow-up was bad, right? He wanted to end the debate. And interestingly, now Maverick is here. It's a real tangible software product that is available to the market, and it's getting incredible results, which we're going to show data-backed studies coming up. But do any of you have any other context on just the why behind Maverick and how it came to be?
I have a little bit of a funny story with that. So I'm one of Howard's pain in the rears when it comes to this, because when I started with Ylopo, I was the team lead that thought I was doing it all, right? I was calling, I was doing this, I was doing that. And I called up, I want to say I was about 6 months in, I said, I'm going to cancel. It's bad leads, right? It's not working. And Howard went into the back end and looked at it, and he knew me and knew he could challenge me. And he said, I'm going to present a challenge to you, Levia, because I can tell you, you are initially thinking you're working them, but there is gold in your database. And so the challenge was, for 30 days, I had to systemize and make sure I was doing outreach. Now, I didn't have this. I wish to God I did, because we wouldn't have even needed this challenge. But so the challenge was, are you doing what it takes to connect and actually understand where these people are at? And within 30 days, I put 6 people under contract. And this was just from a brand new nothing. So what it showed me is the assumption of what we're doing. We are all very busy. We are good at what we do, or we wouldn't be where we are. We know what we're doing, but there's distraction all day, every day. And so this beautiful solution allows you to continue being everywhere you need to be, doing everything you need to do, but not finding yourself in a position where you're picking up the phone saying they're bad leads. Because honestly, they aren't, and you can prove it to yourself when you look at this.
I again, to piggyback on that, I think part of this too, I remember being on all these calls, and Marissa and Levy have jumped on some now to kind of help, because as we've started getting more visibility into this, but there's a lot where Barry and I were jumping on, doing that exact same thing, right? We are constantly jumping on the call and having to dive into the database and go through all of these hunting and fishing expeditions, and basically bring our own fish finder to jump into these databases to recreate some smart lists and dissect it this way. But even on the smart list, I still knew I had to go one by one and then go tweak this, sort by this column and eliminate this. And people are just like looking at this like, holy crap, what are you doing? And of course, I'm just zip, 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 zip going through, because I'm doing it over and over. And I'm like, don't worry, it's being recorded. You can watch it on quarter speed, which is probably the same as this one. Sorry, Jeff. But it's the same thing. It's just like I'm going through, like, there's no way we're going to remember this. And even if I created a smart list, for example, and I love smart list and follow up boss, but then there's still 5 or 6 different ways to sort and organize that smart list. And so as we started talking about this, like, we just need to build a way to go do all of this and dish it up at a click of a button, and even some overviews of what we were going and then trying to explain, because we just couldn't scale it. And not every team, can just hire somebody full time that, is not saying we're experts, but we're in Follow Up Boss a lot, all 3 of us, right, that are more so than the average team lead to try and get this information. And then even then, we were still having to do some guesswork because it just wasn't quite calculating it in the ways that teams needed it for certain accountability measurements and that visibility.
I
Well,
like
and
to
I
call
think
it.
too, oh, sorry.
No, it's okay. I'll wrap up at the end. Go ahead.
I was just saying, I think too that this product, when we were shown it early on in its development, and Gabe knows this because he sat with us when we were looking at coming from another provider. In our case, we were moving hundreds of different sources, sites, and whatnot into Follow Up Boss with very fractured notes and very fractured, right? And our team was literally having to like, okay, well, guess what? We get to go through these by hand because nothing came through correct, right? In the way that it should, much as we expect when things like that happen. A lot of it was old. Um, and again, from different sources. And this allowed us to get really good arms around what hadn't had communication, what needed communication, and kind of build out our plan. And to Livia's point, what we thought we had and what we really had were two very different things, like incredibly, incredibly different things.
Yeah, and I like to call it spreadsheet jujitsu when you have to cross-reference and VLOOKUP and do all this. And it's like, as a real estate team leader, is it most important for you to become a black belt in spreadsheet jujitsu in
Yep.
order to manage your team? No, right? And that's what we're attempting to solve here. Help you measure, coach, and enforce. Because what you see, you can then coach, and what you coach, you can help enforce and then scale. So moving to the details. So this is going to be a comprehensive feature set overview of all of MaverickRE. And I'm going to let the realtors and residents dive in and tell stories about each feature, potentially screen share their own Maverick instance, and really hand it over to you all for the next couple of slides. So please take it away.
Yeah, I'll jump in on one, and it even kind of goes back to the guesswork, just some easy things, and a lot of times we're talking about, calls, right? We were talking about, I know when somebody come in, hey, we're getting low conversion or this or that, and I'm going to give away some of my secrets here, so sorry. I would go into this. We'll role play this just a tiny bit. So we get onto a call. Let's just say I'll pick on Marissa this time. Hey, Marissa. Hey, sounds like you guys are having some struggles with lead conversion, all that. Hey, before we dive in, I'm just kind of curious, what is your guys's, process when a new lead comes in? Can you help me understand that as far as your expected time to touch it? How many touches, maybe the first week? What is all that?
Yeah, so ideally we want, agents touching them in the first 5 minutes. And, right now there's just some struggle with that because, sometimes agents are available, sometimes they aren't. They're getting the notification on their screen. And that's really been a struggle for us. And we attempt to put a 13-day plan on all of them. But again, like I feel like it's getting done, but then sometimes I see it not really getting done.
I'm assuming they call, probably all times a day, try different times, things like that.
Yeah, and just kind of maybe we miss a day or two here and there, we've started noticing.
Yeah. So, which would be the typical call, right? And I'm giving away too many secrets here. So, what it is, I typically tell them like, I'm going to let the team leads or the sales manager or the ISA, whoever, hang themselves. They're going to tell me they're doing all this stuff, and then I'm going to be able to go into the system. And because I know it's going to take a lot of clicks to figure it out, I'm going to see that it's not happening. But there was not a quick, easy way to do that. So, like one example is, are you analyzing like when is the best time to call? Like when are you getting, if you guys are making the calls, and I'm sure you're making all the calls and all that, are you guys checking and calling at the best times, right? So one of the things that I enjoy doing and looking at, let me see if I can pull it up over here, is right within Maverick, one of the super easy, right on best time call report, right? And I'm just looking over here over the last month. Are we looking when is the best time to call, right? So I can instantly see when are the best times. When are we making the most calls, which is the goldish yellow, and then when is the highest connection and most conversations, right? And I can instantly see on a week. I could do it day by day, right, and look at it that quickly, or I can look weekly to see when are agents calling, right? Maverick's tracking all of the times to find out when we should be calling, when's our highest conversion or conversation rate versus calls. So all of that is literally right in front of us. So if you're going to have a prospecting night, let's say we're going to pick Thursday night, when are we having prospecting? I need to figure out when is the best time, or if I don't have to guess now, here's your insight. If Friday is when you team to have the best conversation above average. All right, well, maybe we should do it on Friday. Now, I'm not saying we're going to do it at 8 p.m., but if you want connections, do it when you want it. This has really helped us understand that what we've seen, and actually, let's just test this a little bit. what we've seen is Spear, I'm going to test this theory, tends to, we're going to see higher conversation rates during the day because they know you and things like that. So they're going to answer you, have more conversations. Typically, when people don't know you, team leads, it drops down a bit, right? So we're down single digits during the day, but we jump up to, double digits. It's the opposite. So when we started having some analytics around and visibility to, hey, when we're calling people who don't know us yet, this is typically later in the day, early evening is going to be the best time to do that. Our Spear and all that, they already know who we are. They probably have us saved to their phone with a fun picture or whatever. They're going to answer more often. So use the analytics that Maverick's giving you based on days and times to now time block for your prospecting, right? For your follow-up, nurturing, and things like that. So when we go into those calls now, if I know what those best times are, then we can go ahead and let's play with the odds, right? Let's play the odds when we're seeing the most amount of conversations happening.
And isn't it amazing for coaching too, when you have that agent that's coming in and they're doing what they should? They're going in, they're making their calls, and they're not converting. And you can look at that and go, you know what? This is why. Look at you are on fire from 11 to 12. But look at how the conversations drop. Like, that's just not a good use of your time. I'd rather you be at the coffee shop with some business cards, making connections, than on the phone if you're not getting the conversations. Don't burn out. We did the same thing, Gabe, and we looked at it. We actually went back for the year and looked at it as the week. So looking at a week, when were you guys acting and when were you not? And my team was doing amazing. 11 to 12, no conversations. People were not answering. Conversations picked up after 4 p.m. And I'm like, oh, so there we go. That's when people want to talk. You're just coming at them. You're not meeting them where they are.
Yep.
Yeah. I love the concept of the lead source report too, because so many times we're purchasing from so many different places, right? You may have PPC, you may have some sort of aggregator that you're using where you're paying, a few $100s a month in referral fee. And when we actually dialed it down and looked at it, for a few of them, they weren't our best lead conversion sources. And beforehand, we would see it kind of come through to the point of the spreadsheet and say, oh, there's a lead from, wherever, don't want to call it a particular one, but, here's a lead from wherever we closed that was successful this month. Well, did we look at the fact that maybe there were 70 and we closed one, right? Or are we paying a fortune for this lead source and maybe we've only done a few this year? We just happened to see it on the spreadsheet and think it was performing really well. And so for us, that was huge just because, and I know everybody on here, a lot of money goes in to purchasing and obtaining all of this. And when you look at it, you can say, well, hey, this one particular company, maybe something's wrong. Maybe we can talk to them and find out, kind of where we're missing. But also as far as, some of the different types of ad spend, do we have LSA coming in? Do we have, all of that? Like, it's important to measure that and change and adapt. And for us, it's an every 30-day event, right? So at the end of every month, we're pulling those reports and looking at that.
Awesome. And I'm going to save a lot of the questions that have come in for the end. One of them came into the chat, though, about breaking it down by agent or team. Aaron mentioned they have expansion locations. So Gabe or Marissa, with all these leads and locations, probably could talk really well to that. How does it all break down?
Well, hey, Aaron Hurd. As a matter of fact, so we can break it out by agent or team, like how we had some of our setup were kind of location based and then agent based. And so you are able to break that out. Gabe, okay, I was going to say Gabe's probably bringing it up.
Are you going to screen share?
Yeah, he's screen sharing now.
Yeah, I just switched it over to you. So I will spotlight this.
Oh, sorry.
You should be able to see it. That's okay.
Can you guys see
I think
it?
everyone should see it now.
Yeah. And this isn't a lot of the different reports. I think I'm just on our appointments report, which we might be getting to as well. But absolutely, as you're running reports, and in each one's depending on what it is, whether we want to do it on certain groups by a specific source. But we've got teams throughout Florida. So I just wanted to come in and I want to look at my Tampa Bay team, for example, on a specific report. I literally just type it in. I'm looking at that. Do I also want to look at it want to look at team generated or sphere or both, I can literally just change it and drill it down to anything that I want to see. So that I can really, even down to the solo agent if I want to, right? So it just depends really on how granular you want to get. So yeah, so it's really been built to be able to let you create all these, and you have complete control on that, right? So if I want to look at the entire company, or I want to look at these groups, or I want to look at all my East Coast teams versus my West Coast teams, anything like that, I can really create any and all those groups. And really the sky's the limit. We started thinking, you know, most often geographically, which I think was the example that was given, but we're actually starting to now break it down by we have some specialties. What are my groups that are specialized in cash offers? What about my people who are specialized in probate or whatever it is? I can now have one agent member of multiple different groups and really look at how they're converting, whether it's by lead source or overall. So it's really nice how we can create those different segments to look at them with a different lens.
Could
And I
we?
love that, Gabe. Oh, sorry, Libby.
No, go on, Marissa.
You're just not burning out agents, right? So like probate, that you're into the ability to do that, because if a lead gets transferred to someone that doesn't handle it and they're kind of eyeing their way through it, right? And then having to transfer it again. I love that that's a capability, because prior to that, there wasn't any really, unless your ISA was able to catch it and know exactly who on the team. But in an organization the size of Slack, that might or might not work.
Well, you know what? I think it's a good point, but whether it's a larger organization or even small, right? So we've got, I mean,
Yeah.
Florida, we got a ton, but I'll go to Idaho. There's only like 6 agents there, right? But
Mhm.
I've got a couple that are really good that understand probate and those that don't. So when I go in, and sorry, Jeff, this is what happens when you get 3 agents, team leads, all over the place. So I know you've got different sections, but to go in and use Pro Dispatch, for example, right? As a team lead or my ISA or somebody handing out a lead, I can go into that section of Maverick and dispatch it out and just say, hey, I need somebody who's certified in cash offers, right? Or probate or whatever it is. And then it's automatically going in there, finding those people because it knows their specialties or their areas, and it assigns them out. So it works great for
Right
large
lead,
teams,
right
but
person, right time.
yeah.
Can we just show too, while we're in this, not to get off of that, it's just so powerful for the agents. We're talking about as a team lead, you're able to see what's happening with your team. But could we just screen share agent snapshot as well? Because I think
Please
that's
do.
so powerful.
Yeah,
We're
I
now
got
we're
pulled up there.
taking, do you want to do it since you're,
Yeah, I've got one pulled up here.
okay.
All right, can you see Kim here?
Yes. Yep. So
Yeah.
now we're taking the agent and we're empowering them. So we're getting the information that we need as a team lead to understand how the flow is happening for your team. But how amazing to give your agents this same capability where they can look at their business from the same vantage point. They can see what their funnel breakdown is, how many leads are being assigned, how many have they contacted, what is their rate for appointments set. I mean, I love that. Look at 20% appointment set, 6.8% appointment met, closed deal. She can see where her gaps are and how that flow is happening. So instead of it always being the team lead saying, hey, this is where you're at, you can look at this, make a few notes. She can go in and see what she's doing great or where the soft spots are. And one of my favorite ones, if you go back up, Gabe, it's the financial insights. So if we show them where their sweet spot is, I'm in full business planning mode, right? So, okay, let's look at where your business has come from. What are your top markets? Because you already have a name there. Let's focus you there. And what is your top lead source? And when you can give this to an agent so that they're able to say, oh, I understand why my team lead is saying this. Look at how much financial opportunity I have in front of me that I'm just not taking advantage of from here to here or here to here. I love this. My agents love this. And the goals and pacing is pretty cool too, because it ranks you against different benchmarks so that they can see what they should be doing based on what others are doing successfully.
Yeah, I'm gonna back up one, and we just started rolling it. This is a new feature in here, newish, whatever. I mean, depends on when you start. There's so many features within Maverick, right? So it depends on when you roll it out. So for us, we're just starting to roll out agent snapshot. There is a couple differences here when you're showing, and we do love showing this, not only just to the agent on one-on-ones, we do lump all of our different company generated into one. You don't have to, so it could show Realtor, Zillow, White Lope, whatever, and break it out. But what I love about this is when you're sitting down on a one-on-one, where's your business coming from? 83% of your business is coming from company generated, this percentage. The other thing we're starting to do with this, and I'm sure you guys are probably doing this as well, but when we are on recruiting appointments, we're coming into Agent Snapshot, highlighting some of our agents and showing like the percentage of all their businesses, where they're coming from, right? We also see where we have gaps in where they need. And then, yeah, the goals and pacing, right? We can start seeing when they set up their goals, where are they pacing, right? Call time, you're doing great, but contacts per lead, you're just not there. You're only 10%. So now it's not me, a team lead, sitting down saying you're not doing all this. Maverick's doing it for me. And it's the goals that they set, right? You can go in and edit goals for everybody. And I went to this coaching notes. When you sit down and do coaching notes, you can type those in. And every time you publish notes, all your notes with that agent are in here. What's going on? What's happening? What are we talking about? So what's fantastic is it just every agent now has access to see what's going on in their pipeline in certain timeframes. How many leads have they got? Where are they coming from? Where are they? So we're really excited about getting this going. And as a team lead, I can look one-off agent. Again, I can look at my entire group, sort this by lead types. You can really kind of dissect this any way that you want to. And I mean, yeah.
The Priya, when she talked to us last week, what she was focusing on how Agent Snapshot saved her business because she was so disorganized, and she has a toddler, and she's like a standard agent, right? You have life going on, and so she didn't know what to do next. But then Agent Snapshot was like, do this next, do this exact thing, and now all of a sudden, boom, her efficiency shoots through the roof. She's setting more appointments, and she was like, "Thank you for saving my business." She was like shaking me. We got her on video and everything. It was an amazing testimonial, but it was exactly about this. I think it was the opportunities waiting piece.
So. Yeah, he was talking literally about, she's like, I thought I was doing great and I was doing on this. And she's like, and then we started using Agent Snapshot. This isn't one of our agents. This Jeff and I happened to be at an event, and this agent from somebody else's team in a different part of the country comes up and starts talking to us. She's like, oh my gosh, Agent Snapshot saved my business. Literally used those exact words, saved my business. I thought I was okay. And then all of a sudden, I saw this opportunities waiting, and she's like, what is this? And I saw, oh gosh, I'm doing great. So I'll use this agent as an example, not what she said exactly, but man, I saw where I was doing great and I thought that was everything. But then all of a sudden I realized, where did I need focus, right? Over half of her short-term nurture people right now are at risk of probably leaving her and going somewhere else. So she knew exactly where to look, right? She could click into this and go into snapshot of her business and find out and literally focus exactly. This is kind of going back to when we started this, where Marissa or Levia or myself or Barry or whoever would go in and start slicing and dicing the CRM, and the average agent and team lead's not going to do that. They're not going to do it, understand how to do it. Their expertise is somewhere else, and quite honestly, you don't need to. It's probably not worth your time. Let the system do it for you, right? So another one, this is a big one, and sorry, we just now transitioned from Agent Snapshot right into rules and alerts, because that's what Agent Snapshot and that opportunities is, taking all your rules and alerts where you might be falling behind, where you're doing great, giving them to you up front. So like, this is a big one. I think Levia nudges on this all the time.
I was gonna say, I'm so excited to talk about this. This is one of my favorite features.
I'm literally like, Maverick is literally telling you, you can't see this in, I don't know of a single CRM where you can see this, right? As a team lead for all my agents, I can now see right now, in the last 7 days, I got 51 people that have called us and we missed their call and we have not called or text them back. I can see all their names. I can, what their stage are, who they're assigned to. I can quickly click on it if I wanted to look at it manually. Yep, look at this, 7:48 this morning, DJ called, we've missed the call. And here it is, 1 in the afternoon, no call back, right?
But I want to highlight too, because there's a lot of team leads that they don't want to be the bad guy all the time, right? You don't want to always be telling your folks what you're not doing. So this doesn't have to be, hey, shame on you. This can be, and this is how I've told my team it is, think of this as hiring a full-time executive assistant. This is someone in your office that takes every client file, puts a sticky note on and says, before the day ends, don't forget to call back so-and-so, they called. you were in a closing, you were on showings, you were on a very important client call. They were doing real tasks that rightfully, or we're going to say they are, that rightfully pulled them away from their business in that moment, but their executive assistant isn't going to let them drop the ball and lose that opportunity. And that's the beauty of this nudging. This nudging is literally your executive assistant. And I am obsessive with it. I do 3 times a day, but I do not all of it. But these person called us and we didn't call back. Hey, remind me at 3 points before day's end because I want to call them back. Or they've texted me and I didn't text them back. Well, yes, please tell me and tell me 3 times a day.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, I love that. Like the nudge button for me was honestly when we were first using, right? Like it was a much different level of feature when we launched Maverick. And I loved it. My team was like, you cannot hit this more than 3 times a day. And I'm like, but why? It's so cool that we get everything updated and we're getting like a nice fancy email. We can click through it, right? In my mind, I'm going, this is such a huge like lift, right? It's a huge leverage piece for the agent. And luckily for me, a lot of the agents agreed because Livia, to your point, right? Whatever it is we're doing, we would love to assume that it's business and showings and all of those things. And thank you so much for getting that in front of me. And like you said, it feels a little less, it's different than me picking up the phone and texting, I'm going through your database and I see that you haven't called somebody, right? Like it feels a little better.
Yeah. Well, and I think what people hear when they hear Levia or me, like, I nudge 3 times a day they're like, you're going to nudge your entire team 3 times a day. No, only the ones, and I'm going to go back to the one that we're talking about. It's only going to be the agents that have missed a call from their lead, and it's been more than 2 hours, they haven't called back. So even though Levia is hitting this 3 times a day, no, not everybody. It's only if you've got that. But again, it's your full-time assistant saying, hey, here's the sticky note, put it on your forehead, or hey, here's your phone, push this button. Oops,
right?
oops.
And don't we want to know that? We are in the business of helping people buy and sell homes. If someone's calling me because they want to buy or sell a home, please don't let me miss that. That's how I make my living. So that's valuable. And then the other one that's amazing is the appointment outstanding.
Yeah.
Because so many times you think, well, why is this not coming together? Are they just dropping all these appointments? They're not. They're just forgetting to update the appointments. And Maverick makes it so easy. And Jeff, I might be jumping ahead, but we get a text. So we get a text if we've set an appointment. And after that appointment time has lapsed, you get a text saying, hey, what is the outcome of the appointment? And you get to push a number and push another number. And then I like to voice memo what happened in the appointment, gets added to my file. How easy is that?
Right.
It's amazing.
I was gonna pull up so they could see it. It's just harder to see there. Which one is it? I'll find a picture of it. But yes, it texts you everything on the appointment outcomes. I think I pulled up the wrong article, but it'll literally text you after every appointment. This is one of our biggest. We all have areas in our business to work on. All of us, if we're being honest about it. And appointments, I mean, you can see it right here. It's over 1,000 right now that we're waiting on updates for. This is one of the gosh, Jeff, I'm sorry, we're a mess, but there's a lot, right? We want to talk about 16 times more
It's a flow.
appointments.
Keep going. I'm keeping track of what you haven't talked about yet.
Yeah, perfect. 16 more
Fantastic.
appointments. Well, when you're 16xing and you're getting more appointments, they're going to come from a lot of different areas. Here's one of them. I'm going to back up. We showed this a second ago, and I want to show it again because this is my soapbox. What I'm so passionate about right now, because I don't think, and sorry, anybody who does lead generation, right? Whether RDC, Zillow, Ylopo, list goes on and on. Sometimes we don't need more leads. We need to update what we've got, figure out who we haven't updated, get them back out there. Because an appointment is an appointment is an appointment. If I had an appointment with Marissa and something came up and she couldn't make it, which let's face it, life happens all the time and people can't make it, I need to be looking to see what's going on. So I'm just going to go month to date. And you guys, this is live in our account right now. So you're not seeing anything that isn't real. So this is not fictitious numbers. This is going into our account, pulling it up and looking at what's happening, right? So a big percentage of what we're trying to do. We were at 97% of our appointments had no outcomes. We are working our way down, right? So the automatic appointment updaters helping, having visibility. So when I look at this, how many were not held? So out of the 1162, 343 held. I know more were held. Some just weren't updated, right? These ones were like a no-show or canceled, and then I've got no outcomes. Well, right now, I know I got some low-hanging fruit. What happened here? So I can literally come in at a click of a button. And again, I don't have visibility to this in most CRM. In fact, I don't think any that I know of can I quickly look at and find these. I know that this is a list right now for whether it's my ISA or my agent or whoever. We need to be rescheduling these, right? So if you're looking at this thinking, okay, 16x more appointments, that's BS. It's not going to happen. It's a fluffed number. No, you start looking at your
Real.
shows and rescheduled that get
Yeah.
forgotten. First of all, you're going to cry because you didn't realize, because you didn't have the visibility. And then you're going to get excited because you're like, oh crap, I don't need a ton of more leads. I need to reschedule these people. Everybody in this list is real. We've already spoke to them or emailed back and forth and have a set confirmed appointment. We just need to reschedule them. What better list than this? And then you start going through this list right here. What I have found is a majority of these probably do belong here. It didn't happen, and the agent got busy or went on to the next one and didn't update it. So now I'm coming back. I've got two really good lists here to just figure out what the heck is going on, right? And I can quickly go into my CRM from here. I can see who the agent is. If I want to sit down and do a one-on-one with an agent as well, I just type their name in here and I can look at this just for just this particular agent, right? So now I can rerun the report and I can see exactly where they're at, right? What's going on? You've taken 12 appointments, 3 were held. Well, we need to look at these. What's going on? Let's just break these down. So you can be as big picture or as granular as you want to, but appointments to me need to be obsessed about all the way from the team lead or brokerage owner all the way down to the agent, or I'm going to go one lower. You have an admin, a TC, or an assistant. This is a great spot for them to be keeping you on track. And it is one of the rules and alerts, but man, this is where you don't want to be taking on too many more appointments or too many more leads if you don't have time to update what you've got. That's why that appointments start going down and conversion starts going down, because there's too much on your plate, but you got to have visibility into it.
I think what's great about that too, like training agents, right? Whenever you're working in a CRM to even record the appointment set, right, is one thing. And then updating the outcome is a whole nother. And what we have found, including for me, because I'm a realtor too, right? I sometimes won't necessarily think to go back in to the CRM and update, right? And so getting that text, I will answer that text because number 1 through 6 or set whatever comes over, that's super cool to me. And once I think we get that across to agents that this is so simple, right? And Livia, you mentioned the voice note, like our voice memo, those are seconds of activity versus logging in, typing the name, updating the status, right? And I think as soon as we conveyed that it was that easy, then it became a heck of a lot better. And Gabe, I'm sure that that number, even though there's a lot of outstanding, is significantly better than it was prior.
Oh, absolutely. You can't fix what you can't focus on sometimes, or you can't fix what you can't see a lot of times. And if you can't see it, you can't focus on it. And there, like I said, there's a lot of sections in here, and how we did this. And I think if you're large team, small team, you can't boil the ocean, right? You need to start small. Find some of these areas and fix a couple of them and get those in check and under control, and then go somewhere else. So if you're looking at this like, oh my gosh, there's all these different reports, that's okay. Right. There are a lot of features on our phones, and most of us love our iPhone, but we use probably 8 to 10% of the features and functionality of it. Find what's great for you, or find different people on your team that might own something if you're a team that's better. If you're a solo agent or a really small team on here, that's okay. Having something to monitor your appointments and nudge you when things are getting missed is probably worth it in itself, right? So a lot of this works whether you're large or small. It's just finding what works for your business and what you're doing.
And this is just making my brain go to one more tool, Jeff. So I'm sorry.
Then we need to wrap up this section.
I know. Well, it's actually not on the section, so we can go to the next one if you want, because it's just what we're talking about right now, right? So we're talking about the reporting, we're talking about the nudging, we're talking about the appointments, we're talking about the texting. Well, then let's say we have an agent, we found another gaping hole, right? Let's say we have 5 agents and they're not good at setting appointments. They're struggling with that. That's real, right? They don't know how to do it. Well, we don't have to lose real clients to train them how to do it because we have AI coaching. And
Boom.
that is amazing. So I won't jump into it if we're going to get there, but if I can right
We're
now.
there.
So
We're there.
right here, I brought
It
us
was the
there.
perfect, that was the transition. I was like, we haven't talked about AI coaching. Okay, perfect.
Yes,
Go ahead.
yes, here it is. So the beauty of this, though, when you think about it, right? These are real problems. We all deal with them. It's very legit and it's totally justifiable if an agent is just not in the groove yet and they don't know what to say. But it is as a team lead, if we've already spent the money to bring the customer acquisition into our ecosystem and we're marketing to them, to let agents learn on real people can be daunting as well, because it's like, geez, that was a real potential, but we want them to get better. So the AI coaching, enter AI coaching, which is insane. It is amazing. You've got all these different personas. You've got all these different real-time objections. You've got all these different scenarios. And then you can create rubrics on the back end to see how they're doing based on different scenarios. So let's say it's like a Zillow Flex, a heavy team in Zillow, and they really need to make sure their agents are doing what it takes to make appointments. You can have a rubric checking to see what they're saying, and it's amazing. I had the AI coach on speaker the other day, and a fellow agent at Compass came in and went, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realize you're on with a customer." And I'm like, "No, it's okay." And I'm just kind of doing it, and she's like, "Wow, that person's really creating a lot of objections." Like trying to get through it. I hang up, I go, "That was AI. I was just trying to work through it, get my juices flowing so I can start making calls." She goes, "I thought that was a real person on the line." I'm like, "I know." She goes, "And the objections were in real time, but they were not letting you get far." I'm like, "But I got around it, right? Let's see what my rate was." And then I was able to see my score and I showed her after. And for anyone that doesn't know what this is, not only do you get to do it all, but then you get this awesome summary of what you could have done better. Try doing this. How much were you talking versus listening? What sort of questions? What objections did you overcome? It's fabulous.
Yeah, it really, really is. We actually, Barry and I had a speaking event last week, and we challenged the audience to set an appointment, right? And Barry gave $100 of my money away to the person that set the appointment first. But these are people that had never done this before, and I think it's really different not knowing what to anticipate, right? I think they're expecting just kind of some awkward computer voice and kind of like a few things thrown at them. And it was a solid, I would say, almost 6 minutes before the first appointment was set. And everybody in the audience commented on how natural and real the conversation was, but how also it was some of the wildest objections that they had heard, right? That they had kind of fielded in the past. And just the fact that it had that knowledge that it could go back and forth and kind of have that banter and keep coming up with different things in the same line of conversation, we had a ton of compliments on, because I think there's a big difference between kind of some word tracks that we threw into a system and what this system is. And it's truly, Livia, to your point, the price adjustment. I mean, there's just so many different, right? There's open house tracks, there's price adjustment tracks, because a lot of agents in today's world haven't had to talk about reducing the price of a listing, right? And being able to go in there and have that and not necessarily have to call me or have to call Olivia. Like maybe they're on the fly or maybe they're nervous and they want to have a little practice before they call us.
Right? Yeah, in real time. And it's amazing. I want to just show, I'm trying to see if I'm glitching a little bit, but I would like to show what this looks like.
Yeah, please do.
Let me just screen share. Hold on one second.
While she's doing that, like, and the personas, which has been great. You're talking about the price adjustment one, right? We're always adding in different ones because, like, price adjustment, we didn't probably need that 2 years ago. We need a bidding war explanation, but now we have agents that literally we're tracking have not got a single price reduction. We saw listings expiring, and we went back like over 4 months. There was never an ask for a price reduction, and the agents were just terrified. They didn't know how to have that conversation because maybe they helped set the price or whatever. And yeah, go ahead, Livia, you're showing them now.
So I just want to show how many different categories there are. So this is AI. This is putting your agents on. Think of it as like the warm up before the game. you're getting on, you're getting your creative juices going, you're getting ready to make the calls. There's all different scenarios. So you have lead activity, home valuation, the price reduction, expired, requested cash offer, FISBO. Like these are real-time scenarios. And then when you click on one, you now get the different emotional components. So you have data driven. And let me tell you, this data driven, the guy that I got on that one, he is specific. The emotional anchor, the financial pressure. I mean, these are real time scenarios that we're dealing with day in, day out in the markets. This is a version of it for them to get used to it and work with it. And then there's a dashboard, there's a call history, agent overview, and preferences. And the dashboard is kind of cool because if you look at it's been circling a bit. So let's say we're going to go through, let's go to, I'm just going to go back a few. Let's go June 1st, and we're going to do the calls AI coach. And we're going to see, so here's scores, 5.3 for me, 2.7 for Tiana. Now we were going over what is causing it. And this is what I tell them. I want you to go in first and try to fail. And I will show them, like first call, we're trying to fail this. I want you to say everything wrong. And then the next call, I want you to get in and I want you to practice it. And I want you to, now you kind of get the flow. And you'll be surprised how quickly that goes up. We also did a competition where we asked them, okay, the first person that gets a 9 is getting a gift certificate. So we were all on the phones, but they had to call each different, I picked a scenario and then they had to call each emotional component. And it was so fun getting the feedback in real time. And you would be shocked by that little fun scenario, which honestly, now that I'm saying it out loud, why don't I do this every month? Give them a gift certificate every month because it created appointments right after that. They weren't scared of the phones anymore. But this is what I think is so cool. Appointments asked. Where are you asking to set it? 38% of the time, no. 50% they set it. 11% they asked but didn't actually set the time. Like, so they're trying. I'm one of them. Look, here I am with Tiana. Here's another one. Questions asked versus questions filled. This is a big one for me too. I need to shut up sometimes and just let the other people talk. Objection handled rate. How were they doing at handling the objections? Were they overcoming it? And then when you get the report back and it's true to that conversation and it's saying to you, maybe offer some real-time scenarios on how you helped someone else. Maybe talk about, and you'll find yourself in real time when you're there with actual clients using, oh, can you still see me?
Screen share's
No.
gone. We can see you.
Okay.
Yeah, you.
Yeah, we're doing work, so it kind of glitches. But the how you can see in actual practice, you start using what it's teaching you.
Yeah. I love that. And so and I know Jeff, we need to get through this and you got 3 of us on here, so we're all over and you got some other slides to get to, but real quick, what Livia was just showing, and it goes even deeper, right? We could be here for hours trying to show you all the different things. Is as a team lead, and our other team leads, we weren't going in and listening to the calls to find out, were they asking questions? Were they letting the consumer talk? Were they asking for the appointment? So I'm going to hit another one, the 16x more, right? We already talked about finding which appointments didn't happen, but you would be shocked how many appointments can be had. And we all know we can't get to the deal, to the closing table without the appointments. Literally, she was showing you a stat where Maverick is going in, listening to all the calls in the CRM, and then telling you what percentage of the time are you even asking for appointments. And if that's down in the red, you got a problem, right? By just letting it listen to the calls and tell you which agents or which leads you're not even asking for the appointment to review in your one-on-ones or team meetings, that alone is going to take whatever you're at and amplify it up multiple times, right? So wanted to keep driving home all the different areas where you get to that 16x. I mean, that's just another one right there, just literally changing what we are saying or what we're not saying.
Absolutely. Yeah. Do you have something else, Livia?
I was just going to say the rubrics are awesome too, because we found there was a period where my agents had almost become just door openers. They were just so focused on appointment and getting there and just ALM, ALM, ALM. And they weren't establishing a rapport with the clients. And so I created a custom rubric for more of a luxury buyer. And I said, I want us to just now try to do the calls from a different angle. You can still try to set the appointment, but I want you to focus a little more, live in the conversation a little more, understand them a little more. And that was able to move the needle in that direction. So you really can see, where are the soft spots? There is no criticism here. This is all growth. Where are the soft spots? Let's get better.
All right,
I love
and I know
that.
you're moving on. And it's not you, the team lead, being the one saying
Not
this is
me.
wrong. It's just
I'm
you're
not the bad
doing
guy
it.
anymore.
You're
Yes.
just doing it.
The data, right? You're working
Yeah.
together towards a common goal, which
Yeah,
I
it's
love.
fact, right? Like it's not
Yeah.
emotion. And I think that that's the important part, right? Because it's a fact that we did this call and got this grade, and here's why. And I think that sometimes when you coach it, emotion can kind of get tied into it because there's that personal relationship. And the one thing that I like too is the whole organization can see, right, the calls. And so I don't make calls perfectly 100% of the time, right? I forget to ask for the appointment and then I'm like, "Ugh," and go back. And so I think it's really good for them to see everybody working at it and thriving with it, but also learning from it. I think it's a really, really huge tool for morale for the team.
Yeah, absolutely. And when we did the first slide of features, we jumped here to rules and nudges and pro dispatch and things, which is great. And then we went back to the coaching. So we've covered everything as far as I know, but I want to make sure, just stay on the slide for one more second. Anything else you want to point out here before we go to the data and show the numbers?
I'll just speak to it real quick. So the ISA reporting, right? We talked a lot about monitoring what our agents are doing. So if you're on here, you're a larger team or a small team that has ISAs, or even an assistant or somebody calling for you, what's great is it's tracked separately, right? That way it's not lost and all of that. So you can find out if you are spending money on somebody calling in your CRM on behalf of you, you're able to monitor and check, their calls, their appointments. What are they doing? Are they on track? Which ones did they hand off? Have they turned into deals? Right, all of that. So now again, you're not guessing, because running ISAs for a long time, I could see maybe dials in the CRM, but I wasn't really sure how many were conversations. Were they asking for the appointments? Where are they now if they did? And have they turned into deals? All of that is tracked within here. So similar to agents, but it is separate because it is a different type of call.
Awesome. All right, so getting into the numbers, where did the 16x number come from? Well, we conducted a study from Q3 2024 to Q2 2025 using actual CRM data via API direct connection on 73 teams. And we noticed that based on a control group of non-users that had 1.1 appointment per agent on average, that was a forward-facing appointment, compared to AI plus Nudge Maverick users, they had a 17.7 appointment per agent forward-facing average. It's a 16-time increase in appointments. And would you all agree that appointments are leading indicators to closings?
100%.
100%.
100%, right? It's a controllable metric that leads to closings. And so talking about closings, the 120% below, based on the same control group of non-users, they had a 1.2% conversion rate from lead to close. And then the group with AI and Nudge had a 2.8% conversion rate, so 120% increase. This GCI metric, now this is based on a $400,000 average. The 73 teams were all across the nation. Some were luxury, some weren't, right? But we need to normalize it for a webinar like this. So it was based on 2,500 agent teams. And then when we averaged it all out, the team of 5 added about 2 deals, 25, 11 deals, 144. And so it all broke down, and it was about 4,400 GCI per agent added.
Per agent, context there, right? That's per agent.
Per
So you have
agent.
5, 6,
Agent of 5, 100.
GCI.
that is
Commission, right?
Yes.
Yes. And are agents happier when they're making commissions and getting paid? Are they more likely to retain and refer their friends to join your team? Of course, right? And then appointment met rate. This is a big one, right? Are they actually showing up? Are you able to complete that appointment? And so 40% met rate compared to a 56% met rate, a plus 41% increase. So on that data there, I want to now get into the Maverick, the different tiers, and what's available. So we have 3 subscriptions available. We do have AI Sales Coach, and I see some questions coming in. We're going to get to those in a second. We have AI Sales Coach, we have Revenue Accelerator, and we have Pro. Now, AI Sales Coach is the AI calling. You don't get the API connection with all the data, but you're able to at least upgrade your skills. And it's a good starter for individual agents, etc. Revenue Accelerator is our base package, which has all of the data. Pro has transaction management data. So that's where we're actually doing ROI calculations. You get Pro Dispatch, you get Agent Snapshot, so many extra things with Pro. So those are the 3 different subscriptions available for Maverick. And then we price it not per seat, but based on tier cohorts. So like 0 to 9 agents is a set amount. So the more agents you have up to 9, you just get a better price per seat, basically, but you don't have to switch it every time. 10 to, I think 20 or 25 is a certain tier. So that's how it's all priced out. And we do have a special offer for you today. So if you all have made it this far, I want to talk about the positive ROI needed to pay off Pro really quickly, and then make this amazing special offer that I had to clear with finance and do all this stuff to be able to allow to offer to you today. So positive ROI on Pro requires a team of 5 agents. The annual cost of Pro is $70 to $75 a month for the website rate, right? GCI on a 400K home, 2.5% would be 10,000. After a 50% split to the team leader is 5K. So 2 deals would pay for the Pro for the year, and that's per agent 0.4 deals, right? You can't split deals, but you get the point, right? If you have 15 agents, 25, net 4,900, this is all based on Pro pricing. And when you have a big team, it just gets silly. It's just ridiculous, like how easy it is to pay for. But even with a team of 5, it only takes 2 deals to get positive ROI and pay for this. And with this visibility, we are time and time again, we see this positive ROI is just explosive. So any comments here before I move on, team?
I want to make one comment. First of all, I mean, to me, there's no question between Pro and the other one's a great product, but with Agent Snapshot alone, with the agents having all this visibility, the coaching notes and all that, for the tiny difference, it's minimal. Crazy not to look at it. And this is great. I mean, it literally just a couple deals a year. And we're not saying per agent. It's not 2 deals on that top line per agent. It's 0.4, right? It's minimal.
Right.
The thing that this slide doesn't show, and I love it, but this also does not show the time that the team lead is saving. As a team lead, my time is valuable. There's only so much in a day. And this has no reference to how much time for me to go listen to phone calls, pull data, and go searching. So that's not even equating in this slide.
Right. Oh, thank you for pointing that out. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, when you look at it, I mean, 6 deals for 100 agents, that's a month, right? Like you can get 6 additional deals in a very short period of time when you start implementing these systems, and then it's paid for, right? For the year, which is phenomenal.
And I just want to throw out, if you don't do it, how many deals are you missing that were already in your database?
Yeah.
So that's the other
segues
side
from
of
Libya
it.
today, just
Huh?
flawless. The segues from Libya today was flawless.
Okay, go on. I will.
Okay, so what's the cost of inaction? So you're at this point, right? You've been here for an hour. Thank you so much for spending the time. And you have this choice, right? You now have this knowledge. This software exists. You no longer in the black box world where this software doesn't exist. Now you know about it. So do you use it or not, right? Well, what's the cost of not using it? Lost commissions, conversions in your market from people in your database that transact with others that are funding your competitors. That's the most painful one. Babysitting agents. And, over the 1, 2, 5, 10, 20 years, what's that cost? Well, just to help quantify it, 500K average price, commission, 2.5%, 12.5, team leader split, 62.50, right? So one lost deal per month at a 500K for a team leader is cost of about $6,200. What about over a year? That's $75,000. What about 2 years? It's $150,000. What about 5 years? $375,000. 10 is $750,000, and 20 is $1.5 million of actual commission that would have been split to you as the team leader for just one deal. Imagine if you have a large team and there's just if you were to upgrade and put your API key to Maverick and there's just red blinking lights everywhere, which is how everyone starts, right? There's just things slipping through the cracks everywhere. Imagine what's being lost, right? So
can I chime in on that really fast, Jeffrey?
Yes,
we talked about this yesterday, and this is the most humble pie conversation that I probably get to have in my professional existence. However, when we started utilizing this, right, we had some remarketing going on and we were utilizing this and we were noticing how much we had missed, right? And so the long-term nurture piece. And we took one market, which was in Northern California, and still strong price point, right? Average is about 650 up there where we were. And we had missed out on, it was actually 48.925 million in production. And it was from an arena of, we had like a super user on the system, like we were talking about earlier, right? We had this great converter, and she had too many leads. And so going back to this conversation, we had massive leaks and we were able to identify where they were. And when I look at that and do the math, that's over, $600,000 in company dollar roughly that was down the drain. And there were, really fun words as we were discovering this.
Well,
But
thank you for your honesty.
yeah,
Go
and
ahead.
ultimately being able to see what we were missing, being able to grade the calls, every single conversation that we had here today gave us the ability to make sure that that doesn't happen again. Now, are we going to miss some? You're not going to get them all, right? Like that's just the reality of it, but we definitely will never be able to tell that story again.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for that vulnerability and honesty. It's so
Yeah.
real when you look at it from that perspective. And
Yeah.
now I want to flip the map. This is talking about what's lost and what is probably currently happening in almost every real estate business in the United States and Canada and the world right now, because you don't have this visibility. Well, what if you were to capture one more deal per month by enforcing the right behaviors and upgrading your skills? That's the same numbers to your advantage over time. It's such an edge. It's just unbelievable. So here is a special offer. Win your money back. So if you're just in it for the free gift, by all means, scan the QR code, scroll to the bottom, get your free gift. It's an amazing ebook. I wrote it myself, very proud of it. Find me on social media and let me know if you loved it or hated it. If you want to take us up on this special offer, then we are invested in your success. So here's how it works. Deposit the amount for 90 days of Accelerator or Pro for your team size and earn a full refund by meeting the growth targets below. So you pay up front for it, but it's deposit, and then we track your progress. And if you hit this, you get it all back. Attend weekly office hours, 12 weeks and 90 days. So you'll meet with the office hours coach, Daniel Keaton, whoever is hosting it. And it's usually once a week on Wednesdays. You could either have, your marketing manager or you attend, but that's one of the commitments, right? We want you engaged, we want you learning, we want you asking questions. Number 2, monthly success check-in. You'll have a dedicated client success manager. Meet with them just once per month. We'll schedule those all at the beginning. So there'll be standing meetings 1, 2, and 3 months out. Easy to set and not miss. Number 3, double appointments per agent. The title of this webinar was 16x more appointments. You saw all of the tools to just amplify so much more appointment, forward-facing appointments for your agents. All we're asking you to do is dive in and double it, right? I think that's a fair ask. Now, number 4, post monthly check-in videos. Now, you can either create it yourself, or we're actually going to clip your monthly customer success calls, and we'll make you a little social media branded one. You just have to tag us as a collaborator. Super easy. You follow us, we follow you on Instagram. One button, tag us as a collaborator, lets us get amplified to your people, and it will be nice media for you. And then the last one, of course, kind of goes with that 4th one. Let us share your success story. Once you 2x, 4x, 5x appointments in 90 days and win your money back, we would love to share that as a case study at the end and just be able to run ads to it, etc. So that is the offer. And in order to sign up, scan the QR code, fill out the form, book a demo, and that will lock you in for this Win Your Money Back special, which is a webinar exclusive.
Okay, so we were going through this yesterday, if you don't mind. Yeah, and I lost internet. We had some storms coming through here, so I didn't get a chance to go through all this. So I'm just getting straight. So show up once a week to basically mastermind with other people using the same tech to learn what they're doing, how they're using it, what's working, what's not. which also is a success team. Keaton runs it a lot of time. Levia, you're on the lot. Marissa, I'm in there from time to time, but again, taking notes. Meet with your CSM, who's basically like a coach, an expert in the system to fine tune it, customize it 100% to your business. I mean, those two alone, implement the 2X. I'm telling you, you use the appointments report alone, you're going to far exceed
Yeah.
that. And then the check-in videos, you don't even have to do the video. We can do that from the check-ins with your success manager. You just have to tag us and then say, yes, we can share. It's a no-brainer. So you literally get the benefits of all this. You're going to make a lot more money and get refunded.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So I had to clear the finance because
I
was
remember
like-
the messages. I wasn't sure what was going on. I'm like, what is happening?
I was
Yeah,
like,
and
"Can I
probably
do this?"
finance was
Are we
like,
sure about this?
yeah.
And
Yeah, I
they're
love
like,
the
"Yeah."
concept of win it back too, right? Because I don't know, I like to gamify literally everything that I do inside the business. So like, you bet I'm going to get that money back.
Right?
I'm doing all the
Challenge
things.
Challenge accepted.
Exactly.
No, but the best part about this is, to Gabe's point, it's everything that makes you money. So you're just committing to do the things that you're going to do. We do this all the time, guys. I like this.
Jeff, am I okay to maybe start hitting some of the questions in
Yes,
there?
please do.
I think some we did, but I'll hit a couple of these. So yeah, everything is tracking from the CRM, right? So your agents aren't going anywhere else to work and do things and log things, right? So for us, Follow Up Boss, they're still working in Follow Up Boss. That's where they are making their calls. That is where they are updating stages. This is where everything is happening, and Maverick is in real time, literally to the second, syncing all of this information, right? So it's all still happening in the CRM, including, there's another one I'm going to jump ahead, the calls, where I was asking about how do we know if it's asking for appointments or if they're asking, literally Maverick, everything is going into your CRM, right? With call recording, because that's how it's pulling the information, because it's in there. If you don't have call recording turned on, please, you're never going to start changing what you say until you start listening to what you are saying. All right. You just have to. So it's going in, listening to all that. And it's, are they asking for the appointments? Going back to double the appointments per agent. I mean, that's really the only thing that is work outside your control that the agents are needing to do. But I can almost guarantee that one alone also, just by asking for more appointments, you're going to get. And most people that are not monitoring this metric, the ask rate, we're monitoring it and our ask rate is still too low. We're like at 30% of the time. We are trying to get up there to like 70, 80% of the time, right? So all of that is coming from there. So in addition to asking for the appointment, are we getting location, motivation? Are we building rapport? Just, I hate seeing this metric go down across teams across the country, but it's sad to see how little rapport is being built. And if they'd spend a little bit more time in watching that metric as well, having visibility to it, and then holding them accountable to it, you'll start seeing more more appointments, just because people tend to like them more. There's more rapport being built. So all of that is just happening automatically from those call recordings in your CRM.
Yeah. Yeah. And as far as the questions, we have a couple more here. If Marissa or Levia or anyone needs to jump, I know your schedules are busy. I'm happy to stay on either with Gabe, or if he has to jump too. I want to make sure all the questions get answered, because there were a few that I saved for the end here.
And I got one more to clarify. I want to make sure I didn't misspeak. Sorry. They're spending 8% of their time in Follow Boss. The only time they're going, because I think it was Aaron or somebody asked about when they go into Maverick. Really, the only time you're going into Maverick would be on that agent snapshot, right? So if they want to click that link, it's just one link that they save so that they have their own snapshot or report card of what's going on in their business. That's really the only time that they're in Maverick. The rest of the time, everything is done in Follow Up Boss. Or anything else on that, Levia, Marissa?
Yeah, I was just going to say, and in real practice, I find that maybe once a week they're going into Maverick. They're really living in Follow Up Boss. It's just that one when they want to just kind of set their tone for the week that I see that they're going over there.
And are your agents on Agent Snapshot yet, Levia?
Yes. Yep.
Okay, got it. Because it seemed like Priya, the one we talked to last week, was like living in Maverick. She was like, I love it. It tells me exactly what to do. But then there's the camp that like would go in and do AI sales calls before they do maybe a call night, and that's more like a once a week cadence, or like a So I was just curious.
Well, I want to add some color to that. So again, I think the average is it's less time in Maverick, but she did say, she's like, I'm in there every day, but she's made it part of her workflow. And here's why is a lot of stuff she doesn't need to be, but she likes to use that to help monitor missed calls or text. So she's looking at her rules and alerts every day. That's part of kind of like her health check in the morning when she's getting, I think she even told the story like my little kid's running around and all that, and I don't have to go filtering through all my smart lists. I go to my snapshot and I look to see what's missing. I've got everything time blocked, but that is so she does it more often. I would love to see agents use that a bit more often than what they need to, but they'll still be living in their CRM.
CRM, yeah.
Yeah. And one thing I wanted to clarify earlier, and it's related to a question that was asked. Where is the appointment tracking being picked up, AI listening in, or the agent data entry? It's actually both. So the AI is doing call grading. So when the agents are on the calls, it's recognizing whether they asked for the appointment. That's the appointment ask rate. So that happens automatically when the AIs are being call graded. Now, after the appointment, Gabe wasn't able to show, but the agent gets a text message. And on the text message, it's like press 1 if this was the outcome, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So all they have to do is press the number that the outcome was. And in the CRM, it's automatically updated for them. So I used to do sales management. I know how challenging it is to motivate team members, especially sales professionals who are great in person and their money on the phone, to type notes out and to update the CRM, right? Not the same personality type. But to help bridge that gap, we've created this text-in appointment updating feature, which has helped increase adoption to update after the appointments occur. Yeah, so Livia has to jump. You're welcome to say goodbye. I'm going to go ahead and stay on a little longer. We have a couple more questions to go through.
Okay, all right. Thank you. It was such a pleasure seeing everyone. Excited to see everyone in office hours after this offer. So can't wait. Bye.
Yeah.
Bye, Livia. And I think Marissa has to jump too, but once again, everyone, cool. So Gabe can say
I got this with you. I got this with you.
So thank you for putting this together. And I second what Livia said. We will see everybody in office hours and hope to be able to meet everybody soon that was on the webinar. Thanks, guys.
Awesome. Thank you so much. There was a nuanced question earlier that I saved to the end. So do you know this answer to this, Gabe? How does it determine phone call from new lead versus a follow-up phone call?
It could be time in CRM or gap in what's going on or activity. So there's a few different, I don't know if it's algorithm, whatever, but how it's using. And I would say it's fairly accurate. There are times where it'll score where it thinks it's a new opportunity, whether new in the into the database or new because of inactivity coming in, or maybe newly assigned to that agent. So there's, it's right most of the time, 100% of the time, most of the time, so to speak. But there's just different opportunities how it comes in, right? Because it's even tracking whether the lead is new to you. Maybe it was reassigned to you, right? And if you're asking for those appointments and all that, so there's just different metrics in which it's using. But it's all visible there to you, the agent, through agent snapshot, or the team lead through your sales manager reports.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I appreciate you adding some color on that. I didn't actually know the answer to that, so that was a great question.
There's another one I saw. Oh, sorry.
Oh, go ahead. I was just gonna pull the next
Yeah,
one.
I think there was another one like on how quick you can get this up and going. Like how soon can I see visibility into what's broken? As far as like appointments, which is again one of my, I think, top priorities. I mean, it's almost instant, right? Once we plug in your API keys through your CRM, a lot of it, like the amount of calls, call durations, conversations, appointments, all of that is almost instant. So, I mean, you can be up and running as quickly as you are responding to your, CSM getting up and running. The only thing that might take a little bit of time, and again, this will really be dependent on you, would be any of the stuff that has closed data. So like GCI and things like that. Some teams are super organized, have everything already in a transaction management system, so it's easy to import and sync. Others aren't quite so organized, and so sometimes we have to work with them to clean up their closings. If you've got them in a CSV, something like that, we can help. But sometimes they're not as organized as they could be. So that's really the only thing that slows that part up. But honestly, like it's all data, right? We're basically taking all this dirty, messy data, pulling it out of CRM and cleaning it up and presenting it in a way that's actionable and easy to read. So all of that for the most part is pretty organized through the API. Other than the closings, some agents don't have them, but if you've got them organized or in some sort of TMS system, transaction management system, then even that's pretty easy.
Okay. Yeah, that's great. And that relates to a question from earlier about how does the data get into Maverick? And it's a direct API connection. So there's no real exporting or importing needed from the CRM data. I think Gabe was mentioning export import possibility for the transaction data, but that can also be a direct integration. So whatever transaction management system you use, that's how we can help to create the pro dispatch, ROI analysis, and agent snapshot, things of that nature.
Yeah, and that's the beauty part of it, right? You're not doing this stuff manually. We have manual options for some reason if you don't have a transaction management system or something like that. But no, I mean, almost everybody's, it's all set up to automatically come on over.
Right. And a lot of teams offer that now with transaction management at the very least. So we're then helping bridge that gap between the lead to close, because that's the activity that's not shown by the transaction management system, right? Transaction management systems are built really to show you the conversions and those things, but it's not showing you like what was the lead source, what was the agent activity throughout it, how many calls were made, did they miss the appointments, et cetera, et cetera.
Well, and that's important too, right? Because the metrics that you're looking at are different on lead sources. And when we don't have that visibility, we kind of start taking a guess. But, I know that if I'm doing PPC leads or forced registration online type leads, that I'm going to have more calls to those to have conversations and to appointments, right? Versus if I'm doing lower funnel portal type leads. So just having all that visibility to be able to quickly toggle between the two of them, you just got more actionable insights, and you're not really pushing somebody to make more calls that are needed or transferring leads away too soon, right? You're seeing the average calls per lead source now to get to an appointment, and you can look at that not just per agent, but then you can compare how is this one agent doing against the rest of my team, right? So if they're in line, it's okay. But if you got one agent and they're coming in saying, man, I'm frustrated, I'm not getting, deals put together, and all right, well, let's just look at the data, right? Well, you can pull all this in, like sales manager report pulls it and it compares the agent against themselves or against the entire team. So it's like, well, man, Jeff, okay, I love that you want to come in. Yes, I want to get you to, 30 sales a year. Let's look at how you're doing. We've got, all of the agents on the team. Here are their averages, what's going on and what their average deals are. And here's yours. Man, you're killing it on emails. You're sending more emails than everybody, but man, right now you are at a third of the amount of phone calls as all the agents that are hitting the numbers that you want, right? So now it's not just me, being the team leader, the coach. It's like, well, you're saying you want to get here. Let's look at all the agents that are doing that. Here are their numbers, and now here are yours compared to that. So we just need to move these up to that. You got the same lead sources. You're fishing out of the same pond. We're just seeing the output from the different agents, and I've just got all of that visibility now in the same area.
And outputs in these exact areas, and
Yes.
how that top performance is different.
And or for the lead source, right? Because we literally would have people that is like, why is one agent converting so much more on PPC or on Zillow or on RDC or whatever it is? And now I can look at the differences, right? I can see, because if you're used to working at Zillow or RDC and making 2 or 3 phone calls for an appointment, and you think you're going to get that on PPC, you're not. So now I just move it over to PPC. Okay, you want to start closing one of these a month. On average, these agents are calling 32 times to get an appointment. You're calling 3. There's the discrepancy. We toggle that now over to Zillow Flex or RDC, for example. Now you're right in line and you have the same results. It all clicks. Oh, I'm doing the same output as them on this lead source and I'm getting the same results. But when I toggle it to this one, my output is way less than theirs. And well, I'm getting less results. So now you're not just having to guess as an all-in-one. You can really drill it down even to lead sources.
Yeah, that's such a good point. And thank you for that color from a team manager perspective. I'm curious to talk a little bit about the competitive landscape. So, just to set the stage, Maverick was first to market with this. We invented it from scratch from our experience with YLOPO, generating so many leads for so many teams and seeing this as a glaring problem across all teams. So we were first to market. We've been in development for over 3 years. We have the widest suite of tools available for lead to close agent activity management.
Yeah.
Recently, in the last like 12 months, I think, there's been a few competitors, I'm not gonna say names, that have replicated like one feature. And
Yeah.
they're coming to market like doing all this marketing. And and so, just how I would replicate or I talk about it, and I want to get some feedback from you as well, is there are certain competitors that are like enterprise grade transaction management. Now they're trying to like kind of do what Maverick does. And then there are some that are more like an agent tool. It's like a one thing that it's replicating one aspect of Maverick. What we are really focusing on is that agent activity and a team management perspective, giving you all the tools, AI sales coach, call grading, pro dispatch, agent snapshot, all the features we talked about today. And they're all actually live. They're not ideas. They're not in beta. They've been tested. We have, tons of clients. This is to market today. And it is the complete system that can take you from where you were, which is kind of like with your CRM and your transaction management system, but blind to what happens in between, and giving you visibility into what happens in between, as well as the ability to manage and scale it. So any other feedback there on the competitive landscape, Gabe, and just choosing wisely when they're looking for a solution like this?
So first of all, I think you need to identify what is the hole in your business, or what are some of the areas that you need help in, right? And then what is the right tech, or what is the right tool? What I do, and you said, Maverick really kind of helps everything from just, it's a wide suite, right? From appointments or call grading or AI role playing to ISA manager, distributing leads, reporting on that, to the agent snapshot, grading individual agents. It's a wide array of it. There are a few companies that have come out there. We know there'll be more. They might just go deep in one area, right? Updating appointments or something like that, and they might just go really super deep in there where there's more bells and whistles than what we have, but then probably not offering AI call coaching, the AI sales coach, or ISA route, any of that. So I think it's just a matter of if you only have one thing that you need to fix, and there's somebody that goes super, super deep in that one area, and you got no other issues in your business, that might be the best thing. But most of us, a lot of these are connected, right? When it comes to needing a sales manager,
Yes.
sales manager typically has more than just one job. And I think that's what Maverick really helps do, is pull a lot of those together to save all these different areas that they're having to go and spend time, which is why I wanted to bring up the time on your one slide. There's one way of measuring it on deals lost, right?
Yeah.
But time lost as well. And it's not just the time. You have a great sales manager or team lead or something like that. Well, what if that sales manager moves or goes somewhere else? Now you're having to train someone, not just like, there's so much more to it. So we've really gone, I don't even want to say we've gone super wide. I think we've gone wide enough to fill this void that we as realtor and residents were having to jump in to identify a lot of areas, and brought them in to where somebody now has that all at their fingertips. And yeah, there might be time where one little area somebody's come in and gone a little bit deeper or even competitive. I still think we're probably leading in 90% of these. And you get the whole suite for really not much more. And in some of these cases, not even more than somebody who's gone really deep in one area. And I think really what we're wanting to do is keep it wide enough to stay in our lane of measurement, accountability, and visibility, and go plenty deep to get your job done, save you time, and plug those leaks in the bucket, and make you more money. And staying in those lanes, but keep it wide enough to where you can do it all in one place.
Yeah, absolutely. And credit to our realtor in residence team, which gave us exact scenarios to build product around. So it's as wide as it needs to be based on real teams in production.
And
Right.
then we're using it. Like, we still have our wish list items too. And that's where a lot of this is coming from, right? Our focus groups, people in office hours, you're talking about showing up saying we need this. And as things become more available in different CRMs, and things get opened up, this product is also developing and enhancing, right? So it's always going, and now you're not having to piece together multiple different things because this one updated, then this one updated, but now they don't talk together. You got it all together, and they're all getting updated at the same time to still work with your CRM and with your team.
Yeah, love that. So we are coming down to a close here. I do want to just go over some results that teams have seen. So these are case studies on our site, and I'm just going to rip through them here. Jason Campbell, Option One Real Estate, attributed $100 million in additional sales directly to MaverickRE. noting it helps identify leads slipping through the cracks and provides accountability at scale. He has a bigger team, but he was able to get numbers and see this impact. And we have a video of him saying it. It's an amazing testimonial.
Can I add to that one tiny bit? Just I want to get because it's a massive number, but somebody watching this, listening to it, I went and sat with them. So I happened to be in an area, I know Jason fairly well. And I saw a few areas where I'm like, I bet they have no idea how much they're losing out in these one or two different spots. And I sat down with Jason and his salesman, I think his name is Jamie, I think, and just show, and you could just see their face, like it was great. They fine-tuned a couple areas to see those results. That's how quick these results can happen. Is I don't want people hearing that like, oh my gosh, they must have done this. It took them forever. Those results that you just quoted happened fairly quick, but they focused in like two areas really, really well to fix something and saw those results. So it is so doable.
Yes. And another powerful one, and I know you know Anthony, Anthony Jean, he's in Detroit, and we've been with Zillow Flex for years, he said. Since we activated MaverickRE, the results have been off the charts. In just a few months, we generated 1.2 million in additional GCI. Closed deals are up 70%. Appointments have more than doubled, and our close rate has jumped over 23%.
Yep. I got to watch that unfold as well. It was incredible. Again, they I love that you put like also the map, right? For your offer, like we're even going to give you your money back if you do this, and this. Because those two previous people you just mentioned, that's what they did, right? They showed up, they learned how to do it, or they had their sales manager show up and they took steps, and the results just happened because they put the work in.
Yes. And that absolutely is how the offer is crafted. It's not an offer to trip you up and have you fail. And it's not a money back offer if we fail you. And it's like, oh, if we don't get you results. No. When you follow the path that others have done to succeed with Maverick, you will get your money back. Right. What a great offer. I love it. And that's why I was really excited that it got cleared through finance. We're able to offer it today. This is the formula. You get a new software like this, you dive in, you attend the weekly office hours, you ask the tough questions, you do the monthly 1 hour session with your CS one-on-one, right? And you get to really then dive deep, and they can actually change things in your CRM with you and change settings and change Maverick and actually work with you for you to help you succeed, right? So this is the formula we've seen when people succeed. And of course, we want to then document that and share that success story. So yeah, that's why it's structured exactly that way.
Love it.
Awesome. Well, I have about 6 more testimonials to share, but I'll spare everyone. Go to our website. They're either under the success stories or on our homepage, depending on when you're seeing this. And yes, if you're interested, scan that QR code, get your free gift, and please jump on a demo. We will navigate the pricing for you and show you, well, here's what pro would be for your team and this and that. And then we'll work all that out in the demo. So just jump on a time with our team and we'll get you taken care of.
Can I add something to that? And first of all, scan it. If you have a team or if you're an agent, you're doing business and you think that there are some holes in your business and some efficiencies that can be improved, scan this code, and we all have them. Here's my ask also that I think would help. When you come into this and you get onto that that product tour demo to go through that, if you're spending any money on lead generation or you're spending any time going in and trying to find these, lead generation is an easy one. I would look at some of those numbers. Let's say I'm making up numbers. Let's say you're spending, $2,000 a month on something for lead gen. I would ask myself, well, if Maverick's going to be at, whatever price per month, if I just reduce that off my budget, so I'm not spending any more every month, and I'm seeing the results of higher conversion, why wouldn't I do that? I'm not spending any money. And when you start seeing that, if you're spending money on lead generation, I would literally think and look through that. If you're missing opportunities in there, why not have less opportunities that you're missing? Bring down that spend, bring this in, show up to do what Jeff showed. You're going to get all your money back. And then as you get now better at understanding where the leaks in your funnel are, then you can raise your money back up because now you're not going to lose as many. So just go into this thinking about what money you've got going out. And if you're not wanting to spend anymore, again, I said this earlier, maybe you don't need more leads. You probably just need better visibility into what's going on. I would really look at doing that. Then you're not even spending a single dollar more. Do what Jeff says, then you get all your money back.
Yeah, I love your insurance analogy. just to go one more step further. We're here at the end, but the insurance analogy, it's
Yeah.
like buying insurance for your database and for your lead generation budget.
Yeah. I mean, like you can't buy or you can't finance a home or a car without having insurance. But we spend all this money monthly putting all these leads and things into our CRM with no type of insurance or anything looking over our shoulder saying, hey, caution, caution, you're losing stuff
Yep.
over here. Caution, caution. Like that's what this is. Like, why would you spend thousands and thousands of dollars a month and not have something constantly monitoring it for you? And now with Agent Snapshot for your agents to show you where you're missing opportunities.
Yeah. And from a marketing perspective, it's called conversion rate optimization. When I launch a new campaign, start with small spend, drive it to the page, and I start to track how are things converting? Are they clicking through the form? Is the data flowing? This is about 10% of total campaign budget. And then after a few weeks of critical optimization, so much work, copywriting changes, website design changes, etc., then I ramp it up to the other 90%, and we're pumping for months and months and months, and we go spend 100 grand on a campaign, but not until optimization is complete. So this, if you can 16x your appointments or even 2x, 4x, and double your conversions, like that's conversion optimization for everything that you're doing. Everything now becomes more profitable, right? So I love this offer, this company. I'm really happy to offer it to you all and help during this time. So yeah, please scan the code and we'll see you in the next weekly office hour.
Awesome. Thanks, man.
Thank you.